Now that I've spoken in depth about how I would have organized Lusemble's entire discography as well as several years of Artemis's, I wondered what the next topic should be. As someone suggested Chuu and Yves, I decided to get to work gathering song ideas for them. I already have a passive list of songs that I collect for every Luna member, possible duos, units, and other projects, so then it was just seeing if those songs could make up a release, and adding to it once a proper concept had materialized. Obviously by now we should all know about Chuu's solo coming up in October, filmed in Porto, Portugal with red hair, and I admit it might be influencing my expectations a little bit. But I welcome it. I love when the Luna girls defy our expectations because they really can do anything and everything. The best thing about i-dle starting solo careers is it's really the first time they can do the music they want to do, not what we expect from them. So I feel I need to mention now that this video isn't my expectations. It isn't even necessarily what I think they will or should do. It's just the direction I would like to see them try based on what they've shown interest in so far and what I think complements them, both stylistically and their vocal tones and aesthetics. And again, I'm just throwing out ideas and seeing what sticks. So again, seeing as Chuu's solo debut is right around the corner, let's just jump right into things with her first mini album as I would organize it. Since I don't have any set idea for when the project should come out, I figured I would just start with hers, then get into Yves'. Something struck me while watching Chuu Can Do It recently, and it was that an album naming theme featuring hello in the title would really just suit her. There were a few options, so I decided to just use all of them and organize 4 albums for her. The first album I decided to call Hello Chuu because I figured there has never been a more appropriate stage name ever conceived in K-pop than Chuu. I mean, just look at her. That's Chuu! It's also great for branding and marketing because now the album has a higher chance of coming up when people search for her other content. I was inspired by her bright personality and in particular her 10,000 watt smile. In terms of tracklist, I decided to start us off with Joy's Hello, which doubles as a pre-release. If you're going based off of the current release schedule for Howl, I would have it come out second half of September, so it still benefits from a bit of summer vibes, but is still close to an October release. After Hello comes the actual title track, Jo Yuri's Love Shh. There are certain parts of the song that just scream Chuu to me. The song is bright and upbeat, but it also has this strong beat that's kind of the driving force of the song in the chorus. Up next is Yena's With or Without. It continues the pop rock influence from Love Shh, and I think it also shows a different side to Chuu while being sonically cohesive. The lyrics have a direction that I think many more casual fans would find to be very unexpected from Chuu. Past the midway point, things calm down a bit into Taeyeon's What Do I Call You. The song is more acoustic, but it continues the guitar, which makes it still fit with the previous songs despite a difference in tempo and energy. Closing the album is Ball 4's U equals I, which is very easy listening. It genuinely sounds like a song my grandma would probably like if it was in Icelandic. Making this a promoted B-side would bring a wider appeal to her music, especially since easy listening acoustic tracks tend to be more favorable among the general public and older Koreans, at least from what I've noticed. Hello Chuu, to me, it's kind of the essence of Chuu as we've known her for years. It's bright and upbeat, but the pop rock and overall guitar influence adds the sort of edge that we know now is very much part of her. It's what I think of when I think of Chuu. Before, there was a tendency to lean towards a similar style as Heart Attack, just incredibly bright and upbeat and only that. Other examples being like Nayeon's Pop or Taeyeon's Weekend. Now, I watched the MBTI show she went on in December 2021 a few days ago, and even the members and she agree that before, it definitely would have described her. However, I had to realize quite violently that the show was filmed around the same time she filed her first lawsuit, and it sucks that it took that situation for her to develop that edge. But that's why I think these songs really represent her. They're overall pretty sweet and bright, but they all have this punch or edge to them, and that's why I'm leaning heavily towards a pop rock influence for her. Which brings us to Hello World, her first full-length album. I am the biggest believer in full-length albums, and I also have some strong opinions on how they should be released. Okay, so pre-releases should only accompany 3 things. Number 1, debuts. Number 2, long hiatuses. Number 3, full-length albums. Even better if it's any combination of the 3. The reasons for those being, with debuts, fans will always be taking a gamble, so you want them to have a sense of what they'll be getting themselves into. Take, for example, EXO. They had 2 pre-debut pre-releases in the form of What Is Love and History. Purple Kiss also did the same with My Heart Skip a Beat and Can We Talk Again. Amazing, love it. This is why we need to normalize debuting with mini albums at the very least, especially when the company can definitely afford it. After long hiatuses, a lot of the times more casual fans will have lost interest. Some may have even written the artist off as basically disbanded. A pre-release in that situation makes a lot of sense because you want to rebuild your casual listener base and at the same time reassure fans. Blackpink really cracked the formula to that one with How You Like That and Ice Cream for the album, but the industry completely misunderstood it, as it tends to do, and instead everybody thinks they can just guarantee multiple hits with less effort by doing pre-release singles. SM has failed at this approach twice now. First was with Red Velvet and Queendom. While the Queen's archive teasers were an interesting way to remind people of how much we should trust Red Velvet to put out quality music, I think their return would have benefited a lot more from having Pose as a pre-release, especially because many fans were really hoping for a more Velvet concept. This way, best of both worlds. The second time was earlier this year with EXO's Let Me In and Hear Me Out. Both great songs, both great pre-release choices, but they were too close to the album release. Granted, Let Me In was performed months earlier at their fan meeting, but that would have been the perfect opportunity to release it digitally. Hear Me Out should then have been in early June because I just think it has more June vibes. Then Exist comes out in July, Let Me In for the fans, Hear Me Out for the casuals, Exist for the combination. And finally, for full albums. Because full albums are a bigger investment for both fans and the company, I do think Blackpink's strategy with the album was commendable in that respect. However, the pre-releases were too spread out for the length of the final product. But this way, fans can at least know that this is somewhat the direction the album will be taking. Again, this was failed with Exist, but also with Yves' I've album, which is a truly great album. But Kitsch shouldn't have been the only pre-release. I think Blue Blood should have come out last year, like late November, show a different side to them than Kitsch when it did. That way these 2 songs build a bigger sense of what the album will sound like, with I Am still being a big contrast, but also more casual fans might get into the B-sides because those B-sides are absolutely stunning. And if it was a Red Velvet album, I can guarantee people would not shut up about it. All this to say, I think this full-length album justifies a longer pre-release period with 2 pre-release singles, so I'll talk about them first, then the album in its entirety. The first single would be Yurina's Cherish in early spring, so about late March, early April. The first time I heard this song, I didn't immediately associate it with Chuu, but then there was this one part where I legit forgot I wasn't listening to Chuu sing. Anyways, I figured this should be first because I thought it was perfect for Chuu to dedicate to Kottis. And because the fandom name means flower in 2 languages, this video would obviously be set in a garden. I'm kinda seeing a setting similar to a blend of Hyunjin's weekly poem video and the garden party from Red Velvet's Queendom. In early summer, the second pre-release would be Sejong's Voyage, with this one getting a bigger push as the sort of representative of the album theme. Like the album title suggests, this is really going to be Chuu going into the world and introducing herself to it. The theme of the album is about a journey with no real destination. Since it would be promoted more, I think we could put some more investment into the music video. I think I would take some inspiration from IZ*ONE and PTT and have doors feature a lot due to 2 things. Firstly, with door symbolizing a new beginning or opening a new opportunity or world, I think having her open door in the middle of a desert into a blooming garden would just be great symbolism. Secondly, with door in Korean being moon, I think you guys can piece the rest of that together. The album opens with Cherish, followed by Bolfor's version of Atlantic Princess, inviting listeners into a magical world. I also love that Chuu and ATRP are releasing track videos, but I feel like they could be improved by making them longer, more conceptual for each song, and not only posting them to social media platforms in their scrolling formats. So for Atlantis Princess, we see the titular princess become introduced to a fantastic world unlike her own, like the lyrics describe, starting the story of the album of Chuu venturing into the real world. Taeyeon's Why follows as the title track. The song is about moving on to a new journey, and I think the video would focus on the apprehension behind taking those first steps. The first chorus, we see Chuu begin to run, a callback to the Luniverse. Like the lyrics, the end of the chorus shows her nearly tripping as she stops herself from running off of a cliff. The next verse, she's consulting a map and compass and plotting out the journey. She's distracted when the wind blows through and messes up everything. In the pre-chorus, she steps out into the evening, takes a big breath, and begins running towards the sunset once more as the chorus hits. With the moon slowly rising behind her, showing her in this in-between twilight of night and day, the past, present, and future. The bridge slows things down again as Chuu gets back to the cliff, taking deep breaths as she faces the edge. She steels herself, crouching down to relace her shoes. She looks up and sees an apple with a bite taken out of it at the edge. The end of the bridge shows a wide shot as she gets into a running position. During the falling part, she starts running, finally going past the edge and flying into the air at the drawn-out U. The final chorus focuses mostly on the choreo and a callback to hhhhh, as well as shots of Chuu playing around in colored smoke and dust, references to both hhhhh and why not. The start of a new journey, but not the end of another. The track video to i-dle's Dreamcatcher essentially shows the continuation of the Y music video being set at night to match the dark atmosphere. Highlighting the chorus, the video shows Chuu swaying to the music as lights strobe over her like cars passing by. She dances lightly like that down a highway. Personally, I'm seeing one of those like in America in one of the desert states like Nevada or Arizona. I think kind of like these scenes from Ice Cream Cake. Also, I think the video would make sense as starting in black and white and slowly fading into color. I don't think the Luna girls will ever let go of the moon. Like, if we, their fans, have become emotionally attached to the moon and think of them when we see it, how do we think they are? It's literally shaped their lives for the past 5 to 7 years or so, which is just another reason why I think IU's Strawberry Moon is more than the perfect follow-up. For the track video, I think an alternate version of the Dreamcatcher video would be the best choice. So instead of continuing with Chuu on the ground, this time we see her bathed in pink moonlight, floating in the night. I also think it would really embody Chuu's vibe, at least the vibe we see a lot from her in CFs and such. Joy's Je t'aime marks a shift in the musical narrative. It still matches with the previous songs, but it's a lot more on the softer and lighter side. For this track video, I would have Chuu walk down a downtown area like she's in a Disney movie. With every step she takes down the street, animations bloom around her, reminiscent of Kyungsu's Rose music video. The video ends with her walking into a cafe and the door shutting behind her, leaving the camera behind. In Ball 4's Hug, we see Chuu in the cafe seemingly deep in thought while she waits for someone. In the chorus section, things slow down immensely as the door to the cafe opens and a strong gust of wind blows directly onto Chuu and seemingly no one else, giving the impression that someone important just walked through the door. You guys know I try my best to avoid the same artist on one track list, but I just couldn't let IU's Blooming pass by. For this track video, I don't really want there to be a story. I kind of want it to be more like behind the scenes footage of Chuu having fun at a photo shoot. Personally, I see her playing in a pool and running around with water guns, showcasing different outfits by walking down towards the camera like she's on a runway, but playfully. In Yua's Far, we're back to the journey. Like the first lyric says, I would have this be kind of a road trip video with Chuu in a convertible driving down a Californian highway. Honestly, this would just be a personal wish fulfillment, but I would genuinely lose every single marble I have left if the video ends with her at one of the landmarks from Girlfront or passing by a yellow truck. After that, we get Voyage, and then the album closer in Boa Start Over. We're back in the evening twilight with this one's track video. I would have the video really showcase how daunting it is for Chuu to be taking this journey alone after spending all of her career with a group of 11 other girls who she relied on every day. By the video's end, I would have her sit down somewhere, let out a sigh, and look up to the sky at the moon. Since this is the last song, this video would have an outro section where it sounds like the post-chorus is repeating through headphones. Chuu looks down to see an AirPod, or Galaxy Bud if Samsung wants to sponsor their former model, you know. She reaches down to pick it up, another hand is there. She looks up, and in a moment of absolute pure wish fulfillment on my part, the other person looking back is Yves, smiling to her before a wider shot ends the video, both of them smiling at each other with one hand on the earpod. I can't help it, okay? I love the Moon Girls too much not to hope for something like that. The third release I have would be called Hello Smile. Chuu has always been known for her 100,000 watt smile. I think her smile is bright enough to light up an entire city the size of Reykjavik. So I thought, what would be more reflective of Chuu than her smile? Appropriately, the title track to this album would be Yena Smiley. Aside from the obvious, I also just think the lyrical theme would fit Chuu so much. In my head, I see something a bit similar to the real music video, except it's more like Chuu leading a revolution, because I think that would be a really funny visual. Like this tiny ball of positive energy waking up a bunch of, I can't find a better word than corporate drones, and then leading them on a revolt against the systems we have in place. Like a more radical, but also more pop art, comic book inspired version of so many K-pop music videos these days that focus on the way current office jobs are perceived in Korea. I would also have it end with Chuu charging into the office of the big boss, whether it would represent the president or just a corporate boss doesn't matter, and her army of liberated people start throwing a massive party. Think kind of like this meme, but as a music video. Taeyeon's Wildfire follows, completely changing the vibes towards more acoustic pop. I think this one would definitely deserve a live performance video and to be the promoted B-side. Sejong's Skyline follows, bringing with it a bittersweet look towards the future. Yena makes a second appearance with You. It suddenly breaks up the album with a song much more reminiscent of Heart Attack compared to the acoustic inspirations on the other B-sides. The vibe switches quickly with IU's acoustic masterpiece Through the Night, showing a much more delicate side to Chuu. Yuna's Stardust builds a heavier vibe for the end of the album, introducing strings and piano to the mix. Finally, the album ends with an outro in the form of Bolfor's Good Night, building on the piano from Stardust. The last Chuu project before we can move on to Yves is a winter album. I have been severely affected by the lack of EXO winter albums for the past, 6 years? And I think we very much deserve a winter album from Chuu. Her voice is just too good not to do a winter album. I decided to go with the obvious choice and call the album Hello Winter. Not only would this be a long-awaited Luna winter release, it would also be a callback to Heart Attack and Chuu being the second December girl. In terms of album aesthetics, I would push it towards the Red Velvet and aespa Beautiful Christmas direction, a winter wonderland feeling. The album opens with Kang Haewon's Snowy Day, inviting us slowly into the album like falling snow. I could definitely see the highlight medley with Chuu looking out through a window as snow begins to fall for this one. Taeyeon's Candy Cane brings a more Christmassy vibe, hence the Winter Wonderland aesthetic. It also reminds me a little bit of All I Want for Christmas in the instrumentals. I think with some slight tweaking to make it a bit more full, it would quickly become a winter necessity for many Orbits and casual fans. Things quickly take a turn to softer winter with Baekhyun's I Need You. I think this song would really highlight Chuu's emoting skills and set her on a path to becoming the next IU. That means we need to get her on every promotional platform possible where she could sing it live. I want this album taking over Korea like a snowstorm. I really wasn't joking when I said I refused to let go of the moon. Jo Yuri's Express Moon brings us past the halfway point. With a lot more R&B influence, I think it would show a side a lot of Orbits want to see from Chuu. Nayeon's Sunset follows, slowly building itself to the bridge, where I think Chuu's vocals will really be on display. IU's Winter Poem closes the album, led by piano throughout, really putting a focus on Chuu's voice. I think you can tell by now that I'm also using this album to show off and remind people how amazing Chuu is as a singer. And now we can finally get into Yves. I do hope I didn't build expectations too much, since for her I really only have 2 projects in mind, but both are full-length albums. The first album is one I would call Rotten Apple. I'm sure there's like 500 better names, but I chose it because like Yves, Apple, it's a dark concept album. I don't know, I thought it worked. The album opens with Yena's Wicked Love. I definitely think Yves would lean into the dark music box elements. It also has some slight electric guitar, which is definitely in line with the kind of songs Yves has been referencing lately. Moon Soojin's Out brings a more synth-pop R&B vibe, which definitely fits with the songs Yves listens to. Do you guys remember when she shared that Glitter and Funk playlist? Most vindicating moment of my life, because why is that basically a list of my favorite songs? Yua's Last Dance breaks things up as the title track. It's so smooth and addictive, I could definitely see Yves leaning into something like that. In terms of aesthetic, I'm thinking kinda dark red and vampires. Think this Superstar Luna photo shoot. By the way, how ridiculous is it that BBC had them do a bunch of photo shoots specifically for the app, but there were never any HD pictures posted, just this video. Anyways, this title track would also focus on Yves' amazing dance skills, showcasing her as an all-rounder. The dark atmosphere continues into Boa Shattered, which continues the R&B with synths. It honestly has such a nostalgic Kylie Minogue vibe to me. You knew Seolgi would be coming. I don't think anyone would be surprised to hear that the next track is Dead Man Running. The darkness in her voice and how it blends into the background instrumentals definitely gives me Yves vibes. This next song definitely marks a shift in the album's musical narrative, which is why it's perfect as a pre-release. Sejong's Topper Cliff is genuinely one of my favorites from this year, especially the music video. I would love for Yves to do something similar, but instead of being kind of hide-and-seek inspired, it would be more like we open on Yves covered in blood walking out of somewhere in a daze. In the chorus, we would see flashbacks to how she wound up like that, a fight with someone gone bad, we're led to assume. In the final chorus, we finally see what went down, but I can't really decide what that is. As mentioned, narrative shift, so Chungha's Goodnight My Princess follows that. Yves is a deeply reflective person, so I don't think she would miss a chance to release a song that would let her explore her emotional state like this.
I don't wanna cry. Every night I try.
The somewhat mysterious vibes pick up again for Dal Subin's Catch Up, a song that really pushes the boundaries of a K-pop song structure to me personally. The low-key vibes and how the melody is structured make me associate this song with Yves. Taeyeon makes yet another appearance in this video with Set Myself on Fire, somewhat a narrative continuation of Topper Cliff. I think a lot of people would expect this song to be really hard-hitting or intense, but it's precisely the opposite that makes it so impactful. Continuing with Girls' Generation, Yuri shows up with Illusion, which matches Catch Up a lot to me. Honestly, there might be a better way to order these songs, but this is the order I'm sticking with. The album ends with Solar Spit It Out. I don't really know how to describe the song because I always think it starts so abruptly, but the rest of the song continues in the very fast pace. I think it's precisely that which makes it my preferred ending song. It kind of makes you take a step back and reconsider the entire album.
Set fire, fire, fire.
The second project I have scheduled is a more sentimental album I have named Letters to Sooyoung. Taking inspiration from many acoustic albums before it, this album would be far more self-reflective than the previous one, building on things like Yves' religious background as a Buddhist, and her very self-reflective blogs and letters to fans. A glimpse into her mind through a musical lens. The album opens with the title track, which I decided would be Mion's Drive. I think it fits the vibe I was trying to capture while also being strong enough to be a title track. I don't really have a set of visuals for this, but I think mirrors and down-to-earth settings are what I'm leaning towards. Seeing as Busan is her hometown, I think it would make the most sense to sort of show her journey back home, figuratively and literally going back to her roots, culminating in her at the beach at night, playing in the ocean as the sun sets behind her. Following that is Wheeun's Pastel. I think this would be a song kind of reflecting on Luna. Just from the lyrics being about this person bringing color into her life, it not only reminded me of Vivid, but also I thought, since Yves wrote Strawberry Soda for the Lucemble girls, would she not write an appreciation of Luna for herself? Taeyeon's playlist follows as an appreciation of music and the role it plays in her life. While leaning into acoustic pop itself, I think it could show that the gap between her darker musical style and this more acoustic style all makes up the one person that is Sooyoung in one giant playlist. Yena joins us again in Wash Away, leaning into a more R&B/soul style. I think this song could be a reflection of the emotional state she was put in by the lawsuit and BBC's initial win, metaphorically washing away that stain. I just think it could be therapeutic for her to express those emotions in music. Susie's Le Préférence tones things down a lot with its various retro synth pop inspired instrumentals. Honestly, this song and Yukika's Shade could almost be considered sisters. I'm so sorry, I cannot speak French. Ryu Sooyoung's Pink Moon continues the city pop influence and also brings back the moon. I told you guys I would never let go of it. It is ingrained into my soul forever, and in turn in Yves as well. What better way for her to reflect on herself than by bringing the moon into it? You can't tell me Yves wouldn't be inspired by Beck if she were to do an album like this. Obviously, she would be included on my project playlist. Square 2017 is probably one of her most popular songs, if not the most popular. It only makes sense as a style reference. Heart keeps the city pop vibes going with number 5, which also serves as the pre-release track. I'm seeing a video very similar to Yves' self-made D1 lyric video. Yuna's When the Wind Blows takes us back to the acoustic pop in a very soft and understated song.
You are my star.
Chungha's Byurarang becomes the obligatory fan song. After hearing playback and how she helped Jinseo with Oh Light, there's no doubt in my mind that Yves would release a fan-dedicated song. Sejong's Send a Letter brings more piano and strings to the album. This one kind of becomes the most emblematic of the album theme since the album is letters to Sooyoung. The album finally ends with Bowl 4's When Love Becomes Goodbye. I think it's only appropriate to end the album on a song with a farewell theme. This song blends together the guitar and piano heard throughout the album. And that also marks the end of the video. Honestly, I know that no matter what direction they take their solos in, I'll love them because what matters the most is that they like the songs. I genuinely can't wait for Howl. I think it's gonna tear me apart from the inside based on the preview, but it will be worth it. And I can't wait to see where the road takes Yves. She's had a few interviews with agencies and I hope wherever she ends up will protect and support her.